Hi there, guys, and welcome back to my thoughts and opinions about Everlasting Summer. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the Slavia route. Slavia is my favorite character in Everlasting Summer, to be honest. I think you already gathered if you have seen the Wintertale video or have seen my Everlasting Summer Let's Play, you know that Slavia is my favorite. Why though? I personally think that day 1 to 4 were the most fun if you went for the Slavia scenes. Once more, you may ask why. Well, when you got to know Slavia in the beginning, and you were past the swimsuit scene, you thought of her as the second in command, and the right hand of Olga, and that is her role. And if you did not go for Slavia in Everlasting Summer, in the beginning, that is basically all you get from her. Like, she is the second in command, full stop. But when you actually play her route, you actually learn more about her. And this is many Everlasting Summer characters lack that a bit. Like, I think I understood Alisa's character from the beginning very well. I understood Lena's character from the beginning very well. Oljana had more depth to her than I thought, and that, for example, was good, and one reason I liked the Oljana route. And then actually Slavia was the most interesting character to actually have conversations, etc. with, because you learned that it's not for her about a power or being a good pioneer or something. No, it was about, being a good pioneer for the reason of bonding and taking over responsibility, because these are traits that are important to her. And you actually learned that she will be very sad when the summer camp ends, because she will lose the friends she made there, etc. You may argue now that that she has very Mary Sue-ish character traits, and to be fair, point taken, it is kinda true. I mean, she's good looking, she's good at sports, she's smart, she's a good pioneer, all that stuff. But you actually learn so much, well, not so much, but you learn enough beyond the point that this doesn't really matter anymore. And she starts to feel like an actual personality and not just a character in a stage play, you know? So after all these great scenes we had from day 1 to 4, the dance, the beach, the strawberry collecting, the checklisting, all the good stuff, the talk in the cafeteria, all the good stuff where you got to know her and you were very close and you had a good feeling. We followed up with a very weak day 5 to 7. Because basically what Slavia's role was in day 5 to 7 is being the princess that has to be rescued. Now, to be fair, I think I get what the writer was going, or the writer. I don't know how many people wrote on each and every route, but I know what the writers went for, I think at least. Slavia was by far the most strong-willed and flawless character in Everlasting Summer. I mean, let's face it, all character had way more problems on a personal level than Slavia. So, the conflict that the writers more or less created was, let's make Slavia actually want a man who can decide for her. Now, I'm not doing like a sexist argument or something like that. I'm really not. It just makes her so uninteresting. The thing about Slavia that was interesting is that she was independent. She had a strong will. She had a personal drive. And from day 5 to 7 it was about Semyon deciding for what was right for both of them. It was just utterly boring, and to be honest, I don't even see completely what the conflict was all about. I mean, okay, maybe in the Soviet Union it was not as okay to have relationships in camp. Okay, point taken. But it could have been so much more interesting. We could have went more in depth with her character. We could have had a backstory of her. Why she cares so much for the sake of others. I refer here to the mod Split Heart, for example, who tried to do that. That was one of the main flaws in general of Everlasting Summer. Motivations often had at least no obvious backstory. On no backstory we got like 100% crystal clear told. We could have had so many interesting scenarios. And at the end of the day, we just had rescue me, Semyon. I'm Slavia, and I'm also a girl who wants to be rescued. And as mentioned, I understand what they were going for. Let's show that Slavia also has a different side to her. That she's not only Mary Sue, you know. But it was so uninteresting. And her character was before so much more interesting that it was really sad. Really, really sad. Like, it was the second ending I played, and I was so sad after I finished it. Because the story was... The end of the story was just weak. And then, I mean, when we saw her at the bus stop, I mean... Let's be real, people. The moment you saw that the person you talked to had yellow tag, the text of the person you talked to was yellow. Or the name tag, right, the name tag was yellow. That was the moment you knew it was Slavia, I mean. And who else should it have been? I mean, let's be real. It was not that great. It was not that great. That being said, Slavia route with Ulyana route, probably my two favorites of the girls. I really liked her character. From day 1 to 4 it was really interesting. Day 5 to 7 kinda disappointed, but still Slavia best girl. No doubt about it. The days with her were the most fun, when they were good written. Next up is the Alisa route. Now I actually don't have too much to say about it, because the story was actually very, very basic. I mean, Alisa was a very typical tsundere teenager character. You know, tsundere, if you don't know anime vocabulary, the one that gets angry always very, very fast, but in her core is actually not a bad person. And, yeah, we never dove too much into her character other than that. I mean, she was always bitchy, but we knew in reality she was not a bad person. And then we had another scene that proved that again. And then we had another scene that proved that again. And then we had another scene that proved that again. And then the route was over, basically. There was not too much to it. Now, if you identify with characters like that, I can see why you like the Alisa route. I personally... I mean, I didn't hate it. The one thing I hated about the Alisa route, and I mean, in this case, I really mean hated. They wasted Alisa crying. They wasted it. And that really made me angry. Like, if Alisa broke in tears in the very end, when they were walking on the street and they left the camp, and this was the moment Alisa first time cried, this would have been really, really good. Because, I mean, we already knew that Alisa had a soft core, but we have never seen her so vulnerable. But we had. At that point, Alisa had already, if I'm not mistaken, 2 times cried. I mean, I remember one, and I'm pretty sure another one, I don't even remember the other one. So they wasted her crying. They wasted a very, very emotional moment that we could have had, that we didn't. Except for that, nothing too bad, nothing too good. It was there. Last but not least, we had the Miku route. Now, also, similar to the Alisa route, I don't have all that much to say about it. The idea obviously was to do something a bit different and at the same time parody a classical B-horror movie a bit. Like the classical American B-horror movie. Or at least it seemed to me like that. We also talked on the comments about that, and it seems that really was the intention of the creators. Although, I don't know. Yeah, what is there to say about it? The idea, I was not opposed to the idea to make another parallel universe where they were all actors. Although, Sasha being stupid, not okay. Hit me right in the heart. Hit me right in the heart. But except for that, yeah. As well, it was there. There was nothing really worthwhile. The pictures were creepy. I mean, I liked the creepy pictures of Zombie Uljana and Crazy Lena. They looked good. But except for that, I mean, you had no idea what was going on. There was no explanation for what was going on. It was not really scary. They behaved really stupidly like they always do in horror movies. It was there. It's not like it bugged me. It was not like it was really bad. It was not like there was really something worthwhile. And now to finish this video off, let's talk about all the plot-related endings we had. Being the Semyon ending, the Harem ending, and the Yulia ending. Now let's start off with the Semyon ending, obviously, because it was the first. Now I got the Semyon ending first. And I gotta say, it is still, from all the endings, it is by far my favorite. Even though I have to say, I have to make a comma but behind that. But I'll come to that later. Because the Semyon ending actually made me feel a bit creeped out. Now a lot of people who play Everlasting Summer for the first time are like, I didn't even try to go for any girls or something because I tried to solve the mystery and I tried to actually leave the camp or something like that. I personally went in this with a mindset. I was like, well, okay, it is what it is. It's a visual novel. I don't know if there will be any explanation to all of this. So let's go and have some fun. And I tried to go for Slavia, which didn't work out. As mentioned, my first ending was the Semyon ending. And when I reached the point of getting to the final 3 days, I suddenly realized, man, you really didn't care about any of the secrets that are here, aren't you? And actually there seems to be a lot going on, like the strange peony and all that stuff. Like, I was really creeped out when the second Semyon appeared. Honest to God, I was really creeped out. And then he had this fucking background music I already mentioned in the first video. And suddenly I was suddenly intrigued. I went into this with a mindset, okay, dating sim. And I was suddenly intrigued in the story. I was suddenly really intrigued in the story and what was happening. What is all the background with this parallel universe stuff? And that is why I really liked the Semyon ending. It was well executed in that regard. It really creeped me out. And it also explained that you go on a circle, you know, that you always return to the camp. It kinda did, at least. Now, why a but? You remember I said it is my favorite ending, but there is a but. Not a B-U-T-T, but a B-U-T. My but is the Semyon ending made me believe that there is an answer to it all. And the Harem and the Yulia ending taught me that there is actually no explanation. And that really angered me. I mean, we learned more about the world and more what is going on with parallel worlds and the Semyons that actually exist in the parallel worlds and so on and so on. And in the harem ending we learned kind of the truth that there are only 5 real girls and there are billions and billions of Semyons. But none of this was like, we didn't get any reasons. Was it alien abduction? Was it the government? Was it the CIA? I don't know. I don't know. If you make a story like that, have an explanation for it. Have an explanation for it. Other than that, I don't even have too much to say. Like, basically in the harem ending we learned, at least we learned quite a bit in the harem ending. And also a positive, then in the Genya DLC, which I totally forgot to mention before. Like in the Genya DLC, we again learned a bit more, you know. And we also got into the crazy pioneer's mind, the ones who made many circles in the camp and who started to go crazy and stuff like that. We learned a bit more about what is going on, but we never got reasons. And The Semyon ending made me believe that I get an explanation, I get reasons, and I wanted reasons. As mentioned, I went in there with the mindset dating sim, and I went out there with the mindset mystery story. The dating sim was fun, the mystery story wasn't solved. That makes me angry. I don't know about you. I had very different discussion about this before. Like some said, the journey is the goal in a Confucian way. Others said, yeah, it's actually kind of sad that this all has no real background explanation, But, yeah, I guess it is what it is. Now I know I didn't talk too much about the Yulia ending actually, but that is basically because the Yulia ending is more or less a fake out. I mean, you get a bit more background info on Yulia and what happens to the pioneer that stays with Yulia in the Genia route, but I mean, it's not like it's all that important to the plot, I guess. So, the last few minutes, I said a lot of negative stuff, I realize. I talked a bit bad about the Alisa route. I was very meh to the Miku route. I was very angry with the ending. Although I still love the Semyon ending. But all having no explanation kind of left a bad taste in your mouth, also with the Semyon ending. And I said a lot of negative stuff. And if you remember, I said I really, really enjoyed this game. And you may wonder now, what is going on here? Can't he decide? Is he lying? Well, it's actually pretty easy to explain. Because I want to come back to reasons why I enjoyed Everlasting Summer a lot here in the end. First of all, the first aspect. It's not an important aspect in my opinion, but the first aspect is this is a game made by a few people in their free time. This is not a AAA video game. This is not a book of Tolstoy or something. This is an amazingly good visual novel for an amateur work. I think this needs to be said first of all. Okay? Because all the things I said were all under the impression I grade this by normal standards. But actually, if you would be fair, and I'm not fair, yeah, I'm not fair. I gotta be honest. You can't really rate this by a super high standard. I mean, for what it is incredible. For what it is incredible. Okay, first of all. But even if you apply normal game standards, I still liked Everlasting Summer a lot, and that is the important part. And now you may be really confused, I know. But let me explain. Everlasting Summer's story had a lot of loose ends. Everlasting Story's routes, etc. weren't always perfectly planned out, and the endings were often a bit uninspired or stuff like that. That being said, the great thing about Everlasting Summer were the dialogues, the way it was written. Because the characters were all very well written, I think. Not in the sense that they are like revolutionary. I mean, you have your basic tsundere with Alisa, you have your basic yandere with Lena, you have your basic Mary Sue with Slavia, you have your basic kiddo with Uliana. It's not amazing. The characters are not mind-blowingly new or exclusive, but the way they were written, the way the dialogues were written, the way Semyon's inner monologues were written, made this all feel very natural. And this is a problem. This is a big, big problem. A lot of visual novels, especially Japanese visual novels have. Because they have very close restrictions. A lot of Japanese visual novels have restrictions that they have to please the anime fan. There has to be a lot of haha anime bullshit. The characters can only behave in a certain field because that is what the average player wants. this here had the freedom to actually do what the writers wanted. And the writers took advantage of that, because the characters never felt boring. I actually had a lot of fun with Shurik and Electronic, for example. It felt like a really buddy relationship they had, like Semyon with Shurik and Electronic. Not like they were best friends, I mean they barely knew each other for a week, but like this typical, yeah, these are some boys I can hang around with, buddy relationship. It felt very natural. The way Semyon behaved with other pioneers, it all felt very natural, and the way it was written was also very natural. And this is, I mean, in the end of the day, it has mystery elements, etc., and heavy mystery elements. But in the end of the day, it is kind of a slice of life visual novel. I mean, in a parallel universe, it is still a slice of life. And this is what makes Everlasting Summer so great. The character interactions and Semyon's inner monologues. That the characters felt to a certain degree, they felt real. Some more than others. Like, for example, the best characters were Olga, Slavia, and Ulyana, for example, in my opinion. Because they had actually different levels of characters. They had different layers to their characters, is what I want to say. Like, they weren't one-dimensional. Olga was not the hard leader. Olga was actually like the kind of inconsequential mother of the camp. That was very fast, very angry, but at the same time, these are her kids, and she doesn't want to be angry a long time with her kids. And I explained why I liked Slavia and Ulyana a lot. And that is the big strength of Everlasting Summer, that in my opinion sets it apart from many other visual novels. And also, as mentioned, I like the art and the music. But I already said that, so there's no need to repeat that. Alright. Woo! I think I'm through. Yeah, and if I forget something, I may write it in the comments or something. So, do you agree with me? Did you like something more than I did? Did you like something less than I did? For example, did you not like Slavia? Let me know in the comments. Do you think the Alisa route was the greatest thing ever? And I think actually a lot of players probably do, because 90% of all fans mods seem to be about Alisa. And yeah, let me know in the comments why. And yeah, I thank you very much for watching. I thank you again to the creators. Thank you, people, for your time. As mentioned, Everlasting Summer is one of my favorite LPs. For channel reasons and for personal reasons. Okay. Once again, thank you everybody for watching. And I'll see you then. Bye bye.